welcome to the podcast of Brothers of Many Words. I'm your host, RP.
What's up, y'all? This is King Mackie.
Hey, this is Corey H.
And
Christopher Wilkins.
Christopher Wilkins is our special guest tonight. And how's everybody doing so far in this beautiful week? How was your weekend?
Wonderful. Wonderful.
Good,
Wonderful.
good.
Loving life,
Yes,
except for
yes.
Walmart.
That's right. That's right. What happened at Walmart, Chris? What happened at Walmart, Chris?
What happened at Walmart, Chris?
So Saturday, my girl has gymnastic practice. We get done with that, go to Walmart to get her knee pads, elbow pads for the bike, and she's riding her bike now. Anyways, we got her pads, and I want to get some headphones for the gym, the ones that kind of like go around your ear and they rest on your neck. So, and I haven't bought electronics from Walmart in a long time, and I have to. Everything is locked up in a case now, even the headphones. And I go over to the lady, well, now this young boy at the front desk deal at the electronics, and ask him to do the case deal. So we get there, and I tell him I want to look at a few things. He opens it up. He says only can do one out of a time. I'm like, okay. He gets one out, shuts the case, and I go to open the box because I want to look at the headphones. I just want to see what they look like, if they're going to work. I wasn't going to put in my ear or nothing. He said, we can't do that. And I was like, it's the whole reason I shop in store. And I asked him if he could, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I asked him to go get a manager. I was being cordial. I wasn't being temperamental or anything like that. I just asked him, hey, can I see your manager, please? He goes and gets another lady. And then she just tells me the same thing, but she's not a manager. So I asked him politely, I'm like, please just go get a manager, please. And they both come back with this other guy. I think he's like a department leader or something. And then 30 seconds later, the manager comes up, real small guy, 5'6" maybe. And with him is another guy behind him with a Fu Manchu mustache and a Walmart vest. And so now I'm surrounded, and my hands are in my pocket. And all I did is ask to see the manager, and I'm surrounded by 5 Walmart employees. And the manager's like, what can I help you with? And I said, I would like to look at the headphones. He's like, yeah, these ones right here. And I said, yes. And I said, I'd like to open the box so I can look at them before I buy them. And he's like, we can't do that. He's like, would you like to buy a box of headphones that's already been opened? And I said, I wouldn't mind it if I knew it come from a store, like, a good reputable store that's, I know it's brand new. Like, I didn't get the question. I'm like, that's not that big of a deal. And he told me no. And I realized I wasn't going to get what I want. And it just shocked me that I had 5 people around me. And all I did was ask to look at headphones. The whole time I hand them my pockets. And so I just kind of like take 6 seconds and I look at the manager, and yeah, I probably shouldn't have said this, but I was like, just get the fuck out of my face. And his reaction to that, and I didn't even say it loud or mean. I just said, I was just done with it. I don't want to talk to him anymore. And he immediately was like, you're kicked out of the store. Get out and call the cops. And I'm like, what? For what, man? He was like, because you're super aggressive. I'm like, because I said the word fuck. He's like, yeah, just you're an aggressive person. And I was in shock and all right now. And I was like, okay. I'm like, you know what? Call the cops, man. Call the cops. It ain't going to bother me because I didn't do anything wrong. And I said, you know what? In fact, pull the footage, because what's this going to look like is me and a guy standing with my hands in my pockets, and then 5 Walmart employees surrounded me and then giving me the finger, telling me to leave. And so I start walking. And my wife, she done left with the cart. And I get towards the front by the cosmetics, and I notice 2 Walmart employees are following me. And, that kind of jerks me. And I look back at them, and I've been jumped a time or two. I don't like people following me. And so I look back and I'm like, what are you doing? And, oh, we're doing nothing. I'm like, no, it seems like you're following me. And they didn't say a word. And I said, you need to stop following me now. And I turn around and start walking. And I get, a few more steps. They get closer to me. They're like 5 feet from me. And I turn around and look at this guy with his Fu Manchu beard. And I just let him know. I'm like, call the cops, dude. And I'm like, you are on my butt. You're following me. I said, I feel threatened now. I said, now I'm pissed off. And if you don't get off my ass, I mean, I'm likely going to put your stinking face to the floor. And I said, the cops ain't going to get here fast enough for to save you from that. I'm like, just stay away from me. I don't like to be followed. I haven't done anything to you guys. And I leave, walk to the self-checkout. My wife checks out, and the guy's just he continues to follow me and stops there. And I just stand my ground until we check out and I leave. But my lands, like, what is this world coming to?
Touchy. For sure.
Goddamn Walmart. Can't do shit in Walmart no more.
I mean, my lands.
Oh, man.
Aggressive.
Look, I don't even ask. I told Chris I don't even ask. I just start opening shit. I just tape it back.
Right.
But
Yeah.
he said they had it in the case though, right? They had it closed in the case.
In the class.
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
It was all glass case. They were opening it up, and all I did was ask if I can open it. Then I asked for a manager, and they freaked out.
It's crazy.
Yeah, I probably shouldn't have told the guy to get out of my face, but
My boy was racially profiled. Ain't that a bitch?
Yeah, I just
Wow.
if I didn't know no better, I swore you was black.
I know.
now it's just people, man.
Or an immigrant or something. Shit. Had the fucking Walmart ice.
Well, at least
Especially-
you kept somewhat of a cool head. It probably could have ended differently if you had kept your cool pretty much, man. So yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I try to keep my cool as much as I could. Felt like a kid.
Absolutely.
Thank you, Corey, for that one. Thank you, Corey, for that one.
Yeah, no doubt. So on that note, we're gonna add a little bit of positivity to the situation.
Right.
So this is called Your Competitor. An enemy I had, whose face I stoutly drove to know. For hard he dogged my steps unseen wherever I did go. My plans he balked, my aims he foiled. He blocked my onward way. When for some lofty goal I toiled, he grimly said to me, nay. One night I seized him and held him fast. From him the veil I did draw. I looked upon his face at last, and lo, myself I saw. When we are foolish, we want to conquer the world. When we are wise, we want to conquer ourselves. Thought that was a pretty powerful, little thing right there, man.
Yes, sir.
And what was who's the writer of that, Robert?
There was no name to it. There was no name to that. Hold on. No, there was no name to that one. But it's like you're basically, it's always you versus you. That's always the battle. It's always the battle. All right, open mic night. It's where we pick 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 random questions. We discuss each one 10 minutes apiece on that. 3 minutes per question with a little bit of interaction between us at the end of each one. So we will kick that off. So we also have put the questions in the chat. Hopefully everybody can see those as well, and you can respond in the chat to those questions. So without further ado, the very first question. Do you allow others freedom of personality and process, or do you have to be in control? And I'll let King Mackey kick it off this evening.
Bro, I always gotta be in control. But for real, I do allow others freedom of personality and process because I look to learn something from as many people or anything as possible. Or I'll look to learn from other people. So if I don't allow them to have a freedom of personality and process, then I won't be in that position to learn to what they might be giving me or just something in general.
Sure.
But I do like to be in control, but that is one time if I could say that I'm actually not.
Therefore, well, let's keep it in line. Corey, you'll follow suit. We'll just go like that.
As I've gotten older, I've kind of I used to be like really less confrontational, so I used to allow whatever, things or whatever. But as I've gotten older, I do allow people to I like to like Haru said, I do like to learn from people. and get their thought process. I love learning from people. Um, I don't have to be in control. As far as now, when I'm at home, you know what I'm saying. I like to be in control a
You
little
better
bit.
run
Not,
that shit.
you know what I mean? Like
You better run that shit.
I like to. But yeah, I like for people to have their own thought process and learn from people. I'm laid back, and that's it, man. That's all I got.
You know, I've had to, being as some people say, a big guy. I know that can be intimidating to some folks, and so that has a tendency to shut people down right off the bat and not give them a chance to be free to themselves. So I'll apply this to my children, and from a parenting point of view, to me, it seems like sometimes, parents have this notion that because it's a child, is whatever I say, it's whatever you do, whatever I say. However, the way I look at that is that these are these are little human beings aspiring to be big human beings.
Right.
And so as the world is constructed, in the part of that process is to take away that thought process, as we say, critical thinking. So, with my children, I let them, I look at it as I'm just here. I let them have the will. I let them drive, let them have their free thoughts, and so to pick and choose and say what they want to say. We know constructively. I'm just here. They drive. I'm just here to that little buffer zone to put them back in the way. Now I know for some people that's hard as to let the children do it. Just like I'm the parent, you do what I say, and ain't no if, no answer, buts about it. I don't see it that way because a part of that is allowing them to be free and have confidence to be able to think, as they are aspiring to be a adult. So I don't have to be in control. It's certainly is something that I've had to learn and get better at. And as Haru said, you get to do that. When you do that, you get the opportunity to learn from other folks as well. Because that allows them to open up and let them feel comfortable, and you get to grow both ways.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
I'm with you there, man. Do you allow others freedom of personality and process, or do you have to be in control? And for me, that really just depends on what hat I'm wearing at the time and who I'm dealing with.
Sure.
I'm a business owner, so when it comes to my business, I got to be in control.
Right.
It's I'm the captain of the ship, and if the ship goes down, I'm the one responsible for it, no matter what.
Right.
It doesn't matter if I hire an employee and that employee doesn't perform well; it's still on me. It's not on the employee; it never is. It's on the person that's running the ship.
Right.
That's right.
So when it comes to running my business, I do have to be in control, but life is lived in the gray area. Life is never black and white. And so I'm the captain of my own ship. If I want some people to work for me, I have to allow that person freedom to express their personality in a controlled setting, though, because it's my business. But I still have to, because if that person doesn't have that freedom, then they're not going to be able to express their skills in my company, because they could have special skills that I need. And if I don't allow that freedom, then I won't be able to utilize those skills from that person. And then, you switch over to the household dealing with children. Well, at the same time, you have to, there's a fine line with kids, as like Robert said. I mean, you have to allow them freedom to be who they are, to discover themselves.
Right.
But our job as a parents is to do that with guide rails. So we put up the guide rails, and it's like a bowling ball, except they're in control. Let them do whatever the hell they want. But hey, if they go too far over here, hey, knock them back. Come over here,
That's right.
we knock them back.
Right.
And then when it comes to having intellectual conversations with others, if you do want to further your knowledge of this world, you have to not be in control of that situation. Um, when you're having a debate with somebody, if you don't allow that person to express themselves freely and actually listen to what they're saying and not just waiting for them to finish, then you're never going to learn anything in life, because you don't know everything. And we are a collective species, and we should always want to share our knowledge with another person.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah. Yeah.
No,
Yeah, so
Chris said too. A couple things to add to what Chris says. He's right. So it's like you do wear many different hats when it comes to control and things like that, because you are in different settings. And
right.
I definitely agree with that. And another thing too, with that last point he just made, listening is a big part of that. Listening is a big part of communication, period. And that's very good. I agree with everything you just said. Absolutely.
Yeah. Environment matters. Yep.
Absolutely.
It's good to have identity, but at the same time, you can never build like when it comes to freedom of personality. To add on to that, we need to have our foundation and principles we stand on, and then as we
Mhm.
speak with other people, we have to have the ability for them to express. Then us at the same time not be so stone ground in our opinions that we don't allow those opinions to change or
Right.
morph.
Mhm.
Right.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
But you can never,
Absolutely.
you can't change or transform your opinion if you don't have one to begin with.
Right.
That's absolutely right. That's absolutely right. You know, we are all unique, and we're all unique, and it is your right to be able to express yourself. And it starts when you're a little, as a child, how you were influenced, and, you know, um, to how you will progress to be able to put your thoughts out constructively and let them be your own, and be okay to be able to do that. And
Right.
I think that's a huge thing as you grow up and to become an adult, to be able to express yourself as well as listen to others. But that's all great, all great, all great views on that, Kings. Okay.
Yes, sir.
Anything else on that question?
No, sir.
All right. Question number 2. Whooping ass. No, spanking children. What is
Woo!
your method of punishment? King Corey. Kick it off.
Oh man, this is definitely a good one. Let's start. We'll start by. I'm old school, but I do
Mhm.
not. I don't spank my children. Only to save their lives. I believe in the redirect. I believe that because I grew up different. I grew up, to be honest, a little. People would consider that abuse. You know what I'm saying?
Yes.
But I mean, I'm not gonna
Mhm.
say.
Yes.
But I had to go outside and pick the switches, and then
Mhm.
I, you know,
Yes, sir.
I always got sent back because I was like, there is no way I'm gonna get a big stick and let you
Right.
beat me with it. You know what I'm saying? So
That's
mom
right.
used to be like, boy, you need to go back and get another one. So no, so I don't. I believe in redirection. I believe that if you take the tablet, that kills my kids. You talk about the
Right.
tablet and they freeze. They're
Sure.
like, oh, please no, dad, not the tablet. And so like I said, so I do believe in redirecting, man. I don't believe that. Now, don't get me wrong. If I tell my children to quit running in the road, and they run in the road, then eventually I might swap, pop the bottom a little bit. But most of my children, I've only had to spank my children maybe once or twice, except for my son Caleb. Caleb was a little bit hard headed, but yeah. But for the most part, I believe in I believe in redirect, man. Change, speak to your children because, like Robert said, they are little people. These are little people. They're
Mhm.
not slow. They're not stupid. They are little
That's right.
people. And so I believe that if you explain to them that what's going on and give them choices, that they'll eventually make good choices. But to answer your
Right.
question, I don't believe in I just don't believe that it helped me to get extension cords and all that other stuff. That's a
Right.
whole another story.
Right.
But yeah, I believe in redirect and not punishment, not
Right.
corporal punishment.
That's right. I'm from the same tree, and so my mother rest her soul. But when I tell you, I got them hind parts smoked. I mean, I got them
Yes.
smoked, man.
Yep.
And you right, Corey. Go up there and get me that branch. You come back with that little bitty thing, and she go right back to the screen. I say, get the tree. I say, get the tree right now. You know what I mean?
Right.
That type of stuff. But
Right.
Right.
and listen, hey, we got it. And you right, the punishment. So it progressed as I got older. It's like the punishment. So the punishment is what killed me. It was like you are grounded inside, and I was like, I don't want any of that. I said, give me the whooping. And the whooping
Right.
was tough, but I give me
Right.
the whooping. I won't stay inside. But
Right.
to the question, I vowed from having gone through that, and this is when I was young too, that I would never, never put my hands on my kids. And I never have. I never have, and I'm grateful for that. Listen, I set them all down, and so I pleaded with them, and um, I won't say beg, but I pleaded with them strongly to do not ever put us in that situation,
Mhm.
because just as you are crying, I'm going to be crying too, because it's going to break my heart to
Yep.
have to even do that to you. However, with that being said, it's never off the table. Depends on what you do. We have to go that route, and we never have. They got the message, and I'm grateful for that. And so, I use my size, I use my voice. They're fearful. They're fearful of that, and I'm grateful. I use that to my advantage because I don't want to have to spank my children. I don't ever want to do that, and I've never had to do that. And like I said, they've gotten the message, and so. To each his own. I'm in agreement with Coy. There's other ways to go about accomplishing discipline. That for me is like only as a last resort, only if I have to. And I've never had to do that. And, I don't foresee that ever happening. I just don't foresee that ever happening.
Spanking children, what is your method of punishment? I grew up just like, you guys, we had a boards of education. We had at one point where it was written on it with holes. She hit us with that.
Those spanking.
Oh yeah. We have paddles, and I've always been a big kid. And, my last spanking, I think I was 16 years old, and I let my mom spank me. Now, mind you, I let my mom spank me. Almost 6 foot tall, 220 pounds. Right. And, she'd make us hold our hands up and bend over like this.
Oh my goodness.
But anyways, in my opinion, I don't think hitting is at all. Just for me, I don't think you should ever spank your kids, because growing up as a kid, that didn't really do anything for me. I'm a big, tough guy. When I was a kid, I was big and tough, and I'd kind of laugh at my mom, and it would hurt her more than it hurt me.
Yes.
And I didn't really learn much from it. I did learn because my mom taught me well, but I have 5 kids. I've spanked all of my kids. Even my youngest 5-year-old, I've given her, I think, 2 small whoopings. And now I'm under the point, I've morphed my opinion. And the way I raise my kids is physical punishment. I still agree with that, just in a different manner. I believe in exercise, making them do physical labor, physical work. I think it teaches them a lesson. Sure. You have to expend energy, and they have to spend time thinking about their actions. And at the same time, as they age now, like once my kids get old enough to read, then I'm going to have them read books, philosophy books, sit them down and have them read a paragraph from the Epictetus Discords to make them think about their actions. Let them use their mind as the punishment instead of spanking them. And I think they'd turn out better.
Absolutely.
Philosophy, it's something I've came across the last couple of years, and I think, people don't really get into it anymore. They don't really read philosophy.
Right.
And I think there's a lot to it. But
they don't read at all.
No, I think education is the best punishment.
Yeah.
It's true.
Well, I was like all you guys. Yeah. Corey, no. I've been whooping with everything. You already know. Fly swatters, stitching cord, belts, spatulas, but nowadays I'm like you guys. I have to admit my youngest 2 really do not like to disappoint me. So if I'm disappointed, they're crying already and trying to apologize to me, because they're like, Dad, I'm sorry. I didn't mean to. I didn't mean to do that. So, but if it ever comes to a point, I have a process. So I'm like Robert, I have a look. I can give you that look. I remember my oldest 2 kids were in church one time, and I was doing security around the church parking lot. And when the ushers came out and said, "Hey, your kids are acting up in the second row," and I opened that side door to that church, and I looked at them, and they sat down. Hey, we had no other problem. So that's right. I have a look. That's right. I have a tone. And then thirdly, it would be a spanking, but I never get to that point. You know what I mean? Because normally my tone is going to prevent that next step. And so I'm there now. I have a 3-year-old and a 5-year-old. My youngest 2, of course, I have 6 total. But my oldest 2, I did whoop them initially because that's how I was raised. And I thought that was the best way to go. And just like our first question, with freedom of personality and process, I learned that was not the best route to do for every child. My oldest kids are now 25 and 21, and they say, "Dad, I feared you, until I was, 21 years old. I don't want my kids to fear me.
Right.
I don't want my kids to fear me. And so once I made that change, with my last four, um, through my process of just tone and my look, it has really been achievable. And so I haven't had to whoop my kids hardly at all. And my son, Moon, just like Corey mentioned, you can't whoop him, meaning like he just does not receive it very well. You
Right.
know what I mean? I have to sit down and explain things to him and talk to him and
Right.
really get him to understand. Um, because there was a couple of times where I was going to whoop him, and when I raised my hand up, he just put his, and I didn't
Right.
like that. I didn't like
Right.
that.
Right.
That bothered me, and so
Right.
I learned to go back to my process, and that has
Right.
worked the last 2 years, or I'll
Right.
say the last few months.
Right.
So.
Right. Man, some, it's always on the table, and so um, some kids may have to have that to keep them in line, and then it's necessary, and some kids don't.
Right.
And to what you were just speaking on, about being fearful, the kids being fearful of you. And so me and my
Mhm.
wife, we talk about that too, because I asked her, to get a little bit of feedback as far as, because I don't want them to be scared of me and to the point
Right.
to where they feel like they can't come talk to me, you
Right.
know, uh,
Right.
but she said, no, it's a healthy fear. They don't want to disappoint me. And I
Right.
love that. I'd rather have it
Right.
that way. And
Right.
so, um, um, you know, uh, when Chris is talking about, you put them hands up and go down. Listen, 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 listen. My mom would get that belt. She wrap that thing around her hand. She put them hands down, and we running. We running out through that house. I'm running across that table. She steady swinging that thing. She get me cornered. I'm Bruce Lee. She would be
Yep.
getting so mad at me, but I'll
Yep.
be running all through that house, brother.
Yeah.
I'll be running out through that
Yes.
house, man. But
Yeah.
that was many moons ago, and there's something else too. When we decide to do when you open up your mind and you decide to do something different, to find a better way, you break that chain. You break that chain of, to how we were raised to just instantly be like, I'm gonna spank your hind parts right now, versus trying to find other ways to discipline. And y'all get great points on that. We all get great points on that.
Yeah, I think that just one more little thing, man. Being divorced and having to discipline your kids from a previous marriage is different as
Mm.
well, because
Mm,
you're wanting to for
Mm.
your son or your daughter to do things that how you used to doing them, but you can't. I've experienced that unless both parents, no matter what, are on the are agreement on the discipline, man. That's a whole nother mess.
yes, sir.
Because
Yeah.
at one point, I'm like, "Hey, son, stop bouncing the ball." He's like, "Well, mom doesn't care about if I stop bouncing the ball." I'm thinking to
Right.
myself, I'm like, bro, I don't get, I'm trying not, no, don't say it to his face, but I'm in my head, I'm like, "Boy, I don't give a damn what your mama say. I'm gonna get your ass."
Right.
But
Right.
like I said, it just depends on two parents being able to be on the same page to make sure that the discipline. What I mean, but how do that's another topic. How do you
Mm-hmm. Mm-mm.
how do you get to for two parents to be on the same page when somebody might do it out of spite, like you don't have to listen to your daddy, but
Right.
that's like I said, that's a whole nother topic. But yeah, that you do come into
Bruh,
those kind of problems.
that's a good
Absolutely.
topic. That's hey, you know
Absolutely.
what you do? Boy, you better do what I tell you to do, boy.
Or you like, hey, where your mom at? Come here, let me talk
Yeah,
to you for a second.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, that's a good point. That's
It
a
really
topic.
is.
That's a topic to talk about.
Really is. You write that question down, Corey. That is a good one. That's a
Right,
good one.
right. Put that in
Absolutely.
the chat, yes, sir. Yeah.
Great stuff. Great stuff. All right. Question number three. Question number three. It is, how well do you treat people from whom you can gain nothing? And so I will start that with, what we kind of had a question like this, something along the lines like this about treating other people and whatnot. And um, I treat everybody the same in the sense that, depending, let me say this, my circle is small, and to who I allow that to get that close to me. So, but outside of that, greeting people and being nice and things like that, that's just genuinely how I am. And so, um, whether you have anything to offer me or not, because I don't know that initially from meeting you. So I'm just generally going, be loving and kind towards you, so to speak. So for me in that regard, I don't, I don't, I don't poo poo on you just because you have nothing to give me because I don't know that. And even if you didn't, it still doesn't mean that we can't possibly, you know, form a friendship or whatever the case may be. At least when I see you, I'd like to be able to speak to you, shake your hand or whatever the case may be. But I don't do anything differently whether you have anything to offer me or not. No, you, Chris.
Uh,
Well, I'll go ahead. I'll go next.
Yes, on you.
So how do I treat people I gain nothing from? And and honestly, what in my experience, I think you should always, if the opportunity presents itself for you to have the ability to help someone, um, you should. And I think that's what do believe that's how God works. We're all going to experience that
Mhm.
differently. We're all going to be able to help on a different level. But I think God, He sends us opportunities to help people. And that can be in business and everyday life at Walmart, where it doesn't matter where you're at. And if you think about helping that person and just drive away, that was your opportunity.
Mhm.
And anymore, I don't.
Mhm.
I try not to let those pass up. If I have the means to
Absolutely.
help somebody, I'm going to do it, and I'm not going to
Yeah.
try to boast about it or walk up and say, "Hey, look at me." But I mean, if you have the means to help somebody, we need to start helping our people and community and showing that kindness.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
You know,
So
and,
the
and
question.
just that, another thought to piggyback when we go back to being to money and millionaires and billionaires and all these crazy people in the world. And I'm in business myself, and I'm in a service based industry at the gym where my business is to try to help people. And I do use my business to help people.
Hmm.
And I have my members. They pay me a sum every month to use my gym, but I give a lot of my time to people when they ask for it, and that goes well beyond what the gym offers. But in terms of millionaires and billionaires in business, when it comes to helping others, is I've realized there is never going to be a way for me to become a millionaire unless I screw people over.
That's facts.
I mean, that's just. I know people
That's
won't say, well, if
facts.
you work hard, do this and that. Okay, if you work hard and you spend all these hours, that's taking time away from your family. And then you justify it so I can give my family a better life. Then everyone's pushing each other to keep up with the Joneses. And I hate that about our society because if everyone really did love each other, then nobody would be a millionaire because you couldn't justify making that much money because if you're taken care of outside of our basic necessities of food and shelter and safety, money doesn't make us happier. And if
True.
we have I could never, I knowingly in business now, I know I'll never be able to be a millionaire because I see what it does, what you have to do to get there now. And no matter what, there's no way you can justify it. You have to run somebody over to get there. Somebody's an experienced loss for you to gain that much money or that much wealth and power. Just how it is.
Farouk?
You know, you know, you know. Um, man, you know what I say, man. Every day, I try to make a positive impact on somebody. Whether it's my smile, just greeting them, saying something to them, anything I can. So I just look to give somebody a better day. Regardless of any gain that I might receive. Um, and I'm like Chris, I do believe that life returns that to you. As we read in one of our book clubs last year, that we talked about karma and how
Hmm.
that returns to you. Do I expect it? Absolutely not. I genuinely and sincerely love all people.
Hmm.
I love to see people. I like to smile. I like to treat people great. So I'm going to continue to do that. One of my favorite
Hmm.
books, I don't remember the author's name, but it was called The Reluctant Messiah. The Reluctant Messiah. And it was about a man who supposedly had spiritual gifts. And through these spiritual gifts, people started to follow him as a Messiah. And so he goes to the top of this mountain and he says that, God, hey, I don't want to have followers. Peace. I just want to be me. And God says those people can do the same thing that you can do. So just go tell them that. So he goes down to the mountain. He tells the people, stop following me. The same power I have, the same power you have. But my whole point to that is that at the end of the book, he goes on a radio show and he exposes the truth. He starts speaking the truth on certain things. And of course, people don't like that. So he leaves the radio station and somebody shoots him. And he's laying on the ground, bleeding out. And he says, one of my brothers has set me free. Instead of saying somebody killed me, somebody shot me, you fucking idiot. Well, excuse me, I'm sorry. Or you, whatever the case may be, right? He looked at it and said, my brother shot me and now I'm free. And so my whole point of that, he still showed mercy. He still showed grace, compassion, and love, even in his exit. So that stuck with me. Regardless of what I do and even how I feel, I am always going to show greatness and give greatness to any person I come in contact with.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Sure.
So how well do you, how I treat people? I treat people how I want to be treated, and no matter. I used to be petty. You know what I'm saying? Like if I wasn't, if I wasn't gaining something or somebody, pissed me off or whatever the case may be, how you behave, man, is you could say like somebody treat came across you some kind of weird way or whatever. But if you show that person great, like you said, who like grace, you can teach that person something. So therefore you have taught somebody something, which they're gonna gain something whether they know it or not. You know what I mean? So I treat people with respect and dignity, no matter if they treat me like that. You know what I'm saying? Treat me like that at all. It doesn't matter. Um, there was a saying that says, I will not cut my conscience for this year's fashion. So
Mm, mm,
I'm not gonna change up. I'm not gonna change me. I'm trying to be the best version of myself. And so that's like one of those questions where you could take that question a lot of different ways, man.
Mhm.
But I
True.
believe that you could gain something, whether you don't want to, oh, I don't want to be like that, or oh, I do want to be like that. I do believe that you can gain something somewhere deep down from any situation in life, man. That's
mm.
yeah, that's all I got on that question
Mhm.
right there.
That's what's up.
Very good. Very good, Jimmy. Very, very good. Okay, moving on. Excuse me. Question number 4. Homeschool versus public school. We'll
Oh
start with
shit.
you, Chris.
Haru?
Um, well, I'm going to strongly say I in favor of homeschooling. Um, I am 100% against public schools. I think public schools has ruined American society. Um, my opinion, I know a lot of people may think differently than me, and I understand there's a lot of teachers out there that are employed by our federal agency of education, and um, 100% homeschooling is better because you get to influence your kids instead of a foreign entity. And what I mean is a foreign entity. I know people may say, "Oh, the teacher's doing that. That's a good teacher." Your kid's going to have more than one of those teachers, and regardless of how that teacher is, the system is still going to have influence over that kid. And kids are not designed to sit in a classroom in a box. I don't know about you guys, but I've worked in a prison, and the one up in Jeff City, Missouri, and it's built no different than a school.
Mm,
It really isn't. Besides, there's no bars at the school versus the
Mm,
prison. But I mean, the eating,
mm,
everything's pretty much the same. And homeschooling is a huge sacrifice, and it's hard fucking work. My wife was making $23 an hour as a nurse when she quit her job, making, we were making between 40 and 60 a year. We lost the income for us to homeschool our kids. We decided to
mm.
do that. I mean, that's a lot of money.
Yes, sir.
mm,
So we don't have a lot of. I mean, everything is paid for. It is a sacrifice. No, we don't have a lot of money to do extra things, but our family's getting taken care of, and our kid is gonna grow up, be a lot more confident, and have a lot more freedom to develop as a person and offer humanity something more than what our current schools are producing in our
Yeah.
society.
Mhm.
Yeah. All right. Yeah.
Like I
And
can
that's
talk a
really-
lot more about this, guys.
Yeah. Yeah.
Haru?
You up, Peru?
Man, I know. But I'm a homeschool. My oldest 4, they went to public school, and my youngest 2, we're currently homeschooling them. Um, and it's so beneficial. It's so beneficial. We get up every rising about 6:30 7. They put on their best clothes like they're going to school. They have backpacks or shoes. We have a whole classroom set up. You know what I mean? They have their morning affirmations that they say, their names, including their names, the date of birth, and all that, ABCs, and I love it. And I'm kind of the principal. I'm the principal. So my wife is doing the homeschooling behind me, and I have my own desk, and I'm sitting in this big chair. So my son, I love him. He's 3. He comes to the principal's office quite a bit. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
But it's I can trust my wife and I can trust myself. I want my kids to succeed. And so it's funny that you guys say that my daughter goes to ballet class, and one of the there's 2 stories behind this, and one of the parents or one of the teachers, the instructor, was like, the kids kept stealing each other's shoes, right? Because they all look the same, ballet shoes. And so what she did, she put a sheet of paper down and put the kids' names on the sheet of paper. It's about 10 kids in class. And my daughter was the only one that knew her name, right? She's 5. She just turned 5. And the other kids between 5 and 7 or 6, and they did not. And they go to public school. So I'm not saying public school is bad, but the time and effort we put into our daughter, really 1 and 2 hours a day, goes a long way versus sitting at a desk for 6 to 8 hours. Another story, the ladies telling my wife, yeah, my daughter can count to 20. She's 5 years old. My daughter can count to 100 at 5 years old. Matter of fact, she went to 120 at 6:30 in the morning a couple nights ago or a couple days ago.
Right.
So men putting that effort and that love and compassion to your kids is so beneficial versus, like Chris said, a foreign entity, which you don't know what kind of problems they have going on with themselves and their own psyche. It's just not going to work. And I would have wished that my parents would have homeschooled me as well, because I feel like it would have benefited my brother and I better than what public school did. So public school exposed you to a lot of stuff that is unnecessary for you to be exposed to at such a young age.
You lose control of your children with the
Absolutely.
government.
Absolutely.
There you
And
do.
I was just a quick story before Robert goes off. With one of my boys, he was in wrestling and he got a black eye in wrestling practice. Fell down. The kid fell down on top of him, elbow hit him. He got a black eye. He went to school, and his math teacher took him off to the side, and I was asking him what happened. He was like, "Yeah, black eye from wrestling." She didn't believe him,
Oh,
and
wow.
she sat there and interrogated him, trying to get him to say, "This is what he told me when he got home from school," and that she was trying to get him to say that Dad did it. Um, and he wouldn't. The thing is the coach works at the school. She could have easily contacted him and asked him to verify it, right?
Right.
And she took it upon herself, not skipping chain of command, and then called child services on me.
Oh,
Wow.
wow.
And then literally the next month, it happened again. He got another black eye wrestling because they were both in wrestling, and they were on the trampoline in the backyard. Same thing happened. Got another elbow on the other eye. Had another black eye, and I had him call me twice within like a 2-month period. And you have no control over that just because they're going to
That's
a public
right.
school, and
That's
she
right.
thinks she knows what's going on.
Right.
right.
And I just refuse to let the government have control of my children. Like
Mm.
they're my kids. It's my job to take care of them and teach them,
That's
and
right.
they're gonna corrupt their minds.
That's right. Don't you, Corey?
Homeschool versus I if I could do that for my children, I definitely strive to. I've heard like a lot of great things. I do believe that you can pick the curriculum. Some stuff. I mean, do you guys remember some of the stuff that you learned in school? Probably not. That was going to benefit you. I think that homeschool, like eventually, you can teach your kids more. More of if they want to if they want to be whatever it is, hone in on that. Public schools, man, like a lot of your kids are you're a victim to a lot of stuff, man.
Hmm.
Our kids come home and I'm like, where did like my granddaughter came home and she was singing this little song about ice. It was some, they say, back in the day we was like patty cake bakers, man. Well, they had this whole nother thing, and my stepdaughter was like, "What did you?" And she repeated it back to me, and my mouth just dropped, dude. I was like, I cannot believe you. And that's some stuff that she learned from school. It was horrible.
Wow.
So yeah, but homeschool. Yeah, I wish that. I always thought, back in the day, as we're playing outside, Haru, I think McQuarter, we lived in some apartments right next door to McQuarter, and it was elementary school. And these kids, the homeschool kids, we were like, oh man, this dude, he kind of weird, but really the
Yeah,
dude was
that's
smart.
true though. Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? But really, the
Yeah.
dude, he was smart. And
Right.
I think that if you can homeschool your kids, it is the best way to do it. Even in school, even I went back to school after like 15 years, and even now, some of the stuff that I'm doing, I mean, I'm like, I don't need to know that shit for this. And so, public education, man, is a whole lot of monotonous things that you don't need. And I do believe that you have a better grasp on your child's future that you
Hmm.
can do. But yeah, homeschool versus yeah, public school, man. If I could go back, I would definitely would have went to homeschool. So as
Mhm.
I'm looking in the chat, there was a there's someone I think it's a gentleman that's talking about their homeschool. So congratulations on that, Haru.
Mhm.
Congratulations, Robert. I think that you were I'm not
Mhm.
sure how long I knew that you were doing that. So, man, congratulations, Chris, as well, man. Because public school is not good. Like you said, you have the evil, just a lot of evil stuff, man. That's coming home to the children, and so we need to get the power back to the parents. So
Right.
that's all I got with the homeschool.
Right.
And
Yeah. That's a valid point.
No, we are
Robert,
about to we're about to pull the two little ones, and then my son next year. I'm going to start homeschooling them. So it's great to get the insight from both of you kings right there on how that works. Because I mean, hey, in the words of the great Mr. Rockefeller, hey, he wanted a nation of workers, not a
Yeah.
nation of thinkers, and it is
That's true.
absolutely designed that way
Right.
through and through. And the curriculum for the schools to me, it is creative to highlight a specific narrative, not to teach you all that there is to know. And so, when I took this journey and started reading books and it's like I didn't learn any of this stuff in school because history is so vast and it's only catered to what it is for America as it is in other countries. I think it's like that, instead of giving a world view because that is what you live in. But I'm in agreement with a lot of the things that you guys said as far as, the instruction that you give and the incident that you went through, kid Chris, with your son. I think that is so prevalent, because there is an aspect to of it always is the parent. And that's not always the case. I
Right.
think too much power has been given to to the school system to where, especially when you talk in terms of CPS coming in and then you having to fight this and that and the other for your kids and stuff like that. And to what the point that Corey made about you know the influence of other kids. It's such a different ball game.
Hmm.
I know my son was, when he was little, he was coming home and, saying things of saying things that he was not prepared for. And I'm
Right.
like, where are you getting that stuff from?
Hmm.
And so
Hmm.
to everything that we're saying, two little ones here in a couple of weeks, not next month, they're out of there.
Right.
And my son is too. And to what Chris said too, that that building that bond that you have already built with
Hmm.
your children, but you get
Hmm.
to solidify that even more because they're with you every single day.
Right.
The nurturing and the caring, and you're also instructing them, and then you get to open their minds
Mhm.
to other things as well. And you're giving them back their freedom, which they don't realize yet, but you're giving them back their freedom in so many ways, as far as being what the system takes away from you.
Mhm.
And what Haru said, I wish my mom had maybe had done that. However, my situation was different. It was just her, so she had to
Right.
go out there and get it for me and my sister, and I love her for that.
Right.
I would like to think that I still have turned out magnificent. Uh, yeah, she did a
Yes,
great
sir.
job, but absolutely, I'm for the homeschool versus public school, no doubt about it.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
All right, question number 5, last one. Last one. Hold on. Who y'all texting your tailbones off here? Hold on one second. Let me read this question for y'all text. Let me read this question because it switches. Hold on one second. Nobody text. Okay, last question. Vision and legacy. If your name was spoken 20 years from now, what would it mean? God dang it. Hold on. What would it be? Okay, real quick. Number one, legacy beyond money. Two, impact on children, community, and men accordingly. Three, what must change now to reach your future? And the action, personal legacy statement. So we'll start it off with you, King Haru.
Man, so I'm gonna go with the angle of impact, children, and community, and men accordingly. Um, man, if my name was spoken 20 years from now, they'd be like, "God damn." Nah, I'm just kidding. but but you know what? I want to be remembered as a person that was compassionate and loving to people. Like every brother on this podcast, we have a unique way of how we're built, and how we look and how we speak. And that does come across very intimidating. Like we just heard Chris's story at goddamn Walmart, you know. Um, and I kept telling Chris, I was like, dude, you're a big dude. Like you're a big dude, you know.
I
But
don't see myself that way, man.
I know you don't. I know you don't. Yeah, I know you don't. But but like I said, I mean, I'm gonna tell you, I want to go all out. I want to have statues. Hell, you can write about me and make it Helios Biblios Mackey for all I care. You know what I'm saying? But again, I want to leave a powerful impact on this world. I know I've done it with my kids. My kids follow what I say and what I do, and they trust that. My wife trusts that. I have many friends and family members that do the same. So my legacy is already in turn has been created already. I even had people who called me 10 to 15 years ago, or from 10 to 15 years ago, when I had impact on their life in fitness or just in health itself or just something motivating. Do I want statues of me? Absolutely. Why not? You know what I mean? But again, it's not really about that, you know. Um, but I do as far as my name been spoken, I just want people to know that I was a loving person, I was compassionate, and I gave my all for sure.
100%,
You
man.
up,
That's the
Corey?
best we can do.
I'm gonna piggyback on that. Well, so 20 years from now, my life has been an open book. Some of the people who know my story know that, like I said, I've been through some trials and made some crazy mistakes, some tragedies, and I've for a while I allowed myself to be defined by the tragedies that happened.
Mhm.
And so I want to be, and I've also got a story of resilience, man.
Mm.
Who I hit that head and hit that brick wall a million times, but now, I want to be known to, the legacy is to for somebody who bounced back and who, like I said, was resilient. Man,
Mm.
yeah,
That's what's
like I
up.
said, I can go deep down there, but that's for another podcast. But anyway, I, I do believe in giving back to community, and I believe that the only way that you have to let somebody know about your story. So as they're going through it, you know that you went through it, and that people can get out of the other side. I know that Chris is writing he's writing that book, and he was letting us listen to it yesterday, and that right there is if people don't hear it, man, like they don't know, you know what I'm saying? So I do believe in giving back. I'm not really that long-winded, gentleman. So, but that to answer that question, it would be to give back to community and let people know my story, man.
Okay, that's good, brother. That's good.
So,
Oh, go ahead. Go ahead.
Hoo-hoo.
Chris. Go ahead.
So the question, let's go ahead and read this one more time.
Yes, sir.
If your name were spoken 20 years from now, what would it mean? The angles is legacy beyond money, impact on children, community, and men accordingly. What must change now to reach that future? So honestly, for my legacy, like, if I'm still here and then, live 90 years and I pass away, I really don't care about people remembering my name. I do care about remembering that people remember who I am, and the legacy. I do want to leave behind a legacy. I do have a reason why I'm here, but the legacy I want to leave behind is I'm striving to be like Christ. And that's if when people think of Wilkins and Christopher Wilkins, I want them to think that guy tried to be like Christ, and that's what I'm trying to do in my life. And Corey mentioned the book I'm writing. This book is it's a little different. It's a philosophical doctrine, and my legacy with this is designed to create leaders. I want to create other leaders in our world, and not leadership that's like a boss, that's dictatorship. Look at me, I'm alpha, because that's not what a real leader is. A real leader is somebody that's willing to do the work, stands up and supports their people. They're the pillars for what they're building. A leader is always going to be there to protect the pack, not to be, look at me, look how awesome I am. And we need more leaders in this world. And that's the problem, is we have too many people that want to be in the spotlight, and they're not willing to get down in the trenches and do the work and be what a real leader is to be that somebody that we can actually look up to, not for the glamour and not for glory. That's not what a leader is. And that's the legacy I want to leave behind, is hopefully the impact I make on this world generates other leaders that are compassionate and that actually want to serve humanity versus being in the spotlight.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
And I'm along the same lines as Chris. I didn't realize that at first, but it hit me here a few years back. Is I want to make an impact on mankind. And I read this book by Stephen Covey, I believe his name. He's a personal development individual. And so he had this exercise. And so the exercise goes, so envision you're at your funeral and you are above that and you're looking down and, everybody's there. They're sad, moping and weeping, whatever the case may be. And everybody's getting up and saying, they're paying their last respects to you. And so the exercise was, what do you want them to say about you? Okay, so then you reverse that back to where you are now. So I got to thinking about that. What do I want people to say about me? And so I thought about it, and I want people to say beautiful things about me. Well, how can that be? How can I do that? So in order to do that, that means I have to be beautiful now. So I can't hold those grudges. I have to show that love. I have to be caring. I can't be mean spirited, and I have to help other people, whatever that may be. But I have to be beautiful now, and not be afraid to show that love. And as I have been in the past, and come to realize that, man, there's so much of that ooey gooey sticky stuff inside of me, and like sometimes it's overwhelming, man, but it feels good when I get to share that with other people, and so
Right.
I thought that was a great question, and I thought the exercise was really, really fascinating. You take that back and you put that into perspective and you take it seriously. I'm sure there are things you can change about yourself that will make you grow in that regard. But I thought it was a powerful question. And all the answers you guys have given were outstanding, brother.
Yes, sir.
Yes, they were. They're very good.
That was the fifth question, gentlemen. That was the fifth and last question. Hey, look. Hey, man. That was beautiful, brothers. That
Sure was.
outstanding work right there.
We want to thank one. Also thank real quick to thank. It looks like Nick joined us in the chat, and I want to just thank Nick for joining
Sure.
in with us, man. We appreciate that. We saw that. Hopefully, we can get you on here to say more, and we appreciate you chiming in, Nick. Thank you.
Yeah,
Yeah.
appreciate you, bro.
Yeah, and absolutely. Hey, Nick, and for all the kindness you showed us for getting this equipment, brother. Thank you
Yes.
for it, man.
Yeah,
Beautiful, beautiful.
absolutely. Absolutely.
All right,
Oh.
we'll move on. Listen, anybody else got something they want to say?
I do want
On
to. So we had a person in the comments asked if they could chime in back on the previous question about
Yeah.
the homeschooling and public school.
Yes.
Mhm.
And so he said, I truly think that the public school system is broken and can't nor challenge your child to teach them the skills they need to succeed in today's world. And I 100% agree with that person there. So I don't see
Yeah.
their name. St. Michael 3305.
I think Nick. Yeah, I believe Nick.
100% definitely agree with that. They don't
Yeah.
teach what our kids need for the skills of this world at all.
Absolutely.
Right.
They teach you to be a follower, to be a sheep, to stay in a box and not think outside the box.
Absolutely.
Mhm.
They're definitely not producing any leaders.
Yeah.
That is well too.
Yeah.
That's well too.
Yeah.
And, when I by leaders, I believe every person needs to be a leader.
Yep.
True.
And we understand the biggest takeaway from this for me, the people that are listening, is servitude is the foundation of leadership.
True.
Mm-hmm.
That's true.
Yeah. Absolutely. Absolutely.
Good stuff. All right, Karu, you got that spotlight on some beautiful people this evening?
What's going on, family? All our viewers out there and our brothers from within. And I want to have a spotlight for tonight. And our spotlight tonight is a gentleman named Garrett Morgan. Garrett Morgan invented the modern traffic signal, creating a safety hood that evolved into gas masks. So it says here, Garrett Augustus Morgan, born 1877, passed in 1963, was an African-American inventor, entrepreneur, and community leader whose innovations significantly improved public safety. His most influential creation, the safety hood, an early form of the gas mask, and a three-position traffic signal light, helped save countless lives and shape modern-day emergency response and traffic systems. Um, Garrett Morgan, born to former enslaved parents, Morgan left school after the sixth grade and moved to Ohio seeking opportunity. He worked repairing sewing machines in Cleveland, Ohio, and eventually opened his own shop. His early experiments with lubrication led to a successful hair straightening product, forming the foundation of G.A. Morgan Hair Refining Company. Morgan, 1914, safety hood protected users from smoke and toxic gases through a hood and air tube filtration system. In 1916, he and his brother used this device to rescue trapped workers after a tunnel exploded under Lake Erie. Although his heroism was initially underreported due to racial bias, the episode demonstrated the hood's effectiveness and inspired later gas mask designs used in World War One. And then also in 1923, after witnessing a road accident, Morgan devised a manual operated three-position traffic signal that introduced a caution phase and essentially precursor to today's yellow light. He sold the patent to General Electric for $40,000, and his design greatly improved intersection safety worldwide. Our spotlight tonight is Garrett Augustus Morgan. We want to thank him for his contribution to society.
I'm
Right
a
on.
little bit more to that, man, because I read about him, and with that traffic light, it was just a green and a red signal. And so what was happening was, when you're going fast, there was no way when it hit red, so they were just wrecking,
Right.
And he came up
Yeah.
with that idea with to put that
Mhm.
yellow caution in there, which prevented a lot of accidents. And also with the gas mask, you had mentioned that him and his brother, they saved those folks. Well, so
Right.
people were like, they were fascinated by that. And so when he went around to market his stuff and like the fire station and police and areas like that, but when they saw that he was black, they didn't want nothing to do with that. They
Right.
didn't want nothing to do with that at all. So he had to go back and get a white man to take his place to go and market his stuff, and then and only then was it it
Wow.
was accepted.
Wow.
Crazy,
Wow.
crazy
Yeah,
stuff.
that is.
But you're
Kinda-
right, Gary Morgan.
yeah.
I mean, those are the gas mask is that's life changing. That has
Yes.
been one of those. It helped me in the Marine Corps. Let me
Mhm.
just say that is how do you want to say that? A not life changing, but a huge impact on mankind. The gas
Right.
mask that's been,
Right. Right.
But yeah,
Yeah.
great person right there. So want to encourage the likes and people to subscribe. We welcome your thoughts and your suggestions and input on anything you may have on what we discussed tonight. The conversation is always and always will be magnificent. You guys we all did a great job tonight, and I appreciate all you Kings being on here, and we sharing the spotlight. Hope we are touching some lives today right now. It's very
Amen.
Absolutely.
That is it.
All right,
King.
brothers.
We have Sunday night. We have book club. Brothers of Many Words, book club at 9:15. We will be on time. Tonight's on me, but we'll do better. We'll Sunday, this coming Sunday, 9:15. Like to join us? We'd love to have you. Outside of that, till Sunday, Kings.
Love y'all. Be safe.
Love ya.
Love you too.